The year 2000 was still the 1990s. Shut up, I'm right! And all the rest of you bust onto the hardwood floor under your computer desk while role-playing TARS with septobuses performing the duties of a proctologist. The 1990s truly was a lawless time. This car came with a bicycle. This car came with a bicycle. This is a special edition of the first-gen Ford Focus that is bicycle themed. And it was not the first automotive manufacturer to do this. Volkswagen came first with the Jetta Trek. It was a Jetta that came with a Trek bicycle. Ford saw that and in a Winklevossian way said, me too. I thought of that too. I thought of that first. I thought of that too, and I thought of it first. I'm telling. I'm gonna get you sent to the principal's office. So Ford was like, okay, well, Trek's taken, and Cannondale, Schwinn, and Huffy won't answer the phone. Kona will take the deal. They'll take any deal. I sold them a baggie full of stems and seeds, and they never said anything. So Ford created the Focus Kona Edition, and it wasn't just a Focus with a roof rack and a mountain bike. Oh no. It was an entire bicycle-themed car. It proselytized the benefits of bicycling and the Kona brand identity. Kona didn't just sell bicycles, they sold clothes, entire outfits. They employed models, printed brochures, printed water bottles, they stitched pants. Look at these pants. Look at these pants shorts. Oh, the 90s. They're almost Jinkos, but not quite. Look at this guy. He's got the oval matrix sunglasses, bucket hat, surf's up, brah. I swear, everything in the late 90s and early 2000s was about surfing. It was super weird, and I wasn't immune either. I had my Quicksilver hat, I had my Quicksilver wallet, and I had a freestyle watch. My first major purchase in high school. A $50 watch in 1997. You can do the conversion right now. Anyway, this Ford Focus Kona came with cool guy denim-esque seat covers. The spirit of the AMC Gremlin Levi's edition lives on. But wait, there's more pre-cum in my cock. You get a Kona-themed floor mat theme. It has bicycle treads on them. And you get Kona-themed body trim pieces with bicycle tread on them. And spoilers on your front-wheel drive car that do nothing. It's all style. But go back to the Kona brochure. Look at these models and poses. It was all style. That was the late 1990s and early 2000s. All style, no substance. What is Kona even selling here with these poses? These poses. I went down to the beach and saw Kiki. She was all like, and I'm like, whatever. These models are all saying that Lisa Simpson bit where she tries to emulate the cool kids at the beach by saying, like, whatever. Kona is selling detached coolness. Like they're all waiting outside the cool store for someone, but that someone isn't you. But if you pretend not to care if they want to be your friend, then maybe they'll invite you into their friend group. And then you'll be one of the cool kids and you'll be included, invited, welcomed, valued, and all those inside jokes you hear from 15 feet away, well, they're going to tell you what they really mean. And all you have to do is submit to corporate curated non-conformity, what Daria expertly defined as edgy. This is just a Gen 1 non-SVT Ford Focus ZX3 with some extra bits glued onto it. There's been some modifications to it by the owner, but when this came from the factory, it was a slow car. Just a ZX3. It doesn't really want to rev, and when you do coax that Z-Tech engine above 5,000 RPM, there's nothing there but more noise. I like that it also doesn't have a red line.
Yeah.
All right, that is foot on the floor. This was... it's
slow.
Making an effort to get up there. Okay, now for third. Oh, it took third. There it goes.
Okay, yep. Yeah, it's...
So it's not the what was the performance version?
SVT.
SVT.
Yes, that's the.
Yeah.
I think that one Yeah, that one had a little bit more horsepower. And that one was a 6-speed too. This is only a 5-speed. It's fun, but it's not fast, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't need to be fast.
This is definitely a momentum car.
It's a car for cornering.
Mm-hmm.
It really enjoys the corners, especially because I have the SVT suspension kit on it.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, it's got the SVT suspension kit, which has a rear sway bar, and then I have the Focus Sport strut brace. So it really, like, it corners like a dream. I mean, they use these cars for rally racing.
Just like a 21-year-old me thinking that my subwoofer sounded good because it vibrated my license plate, this just makes a whole bunch of noise. This is not to say that the late 1990s and the year 2000 was devoid of culture. Quite the opposite. We're still talking about the movies and music made during that time. Bare Naked Ladies Stunt has become timeless. Call and Answer? Come on, it's a great song. The movie Memento? Influencers and clickbaiters are still making James Cameron's debut hit relevant. What I'm talking about is advertisers' lag time between hearing about cultural trends and creating media and products to exploit and capitalize off said trends. This brochure and media is from the year 2000, but the styles depicted within is more 1995-1996. The reason it lags is because this is before social media. Back then, brands were consistently 5 years behind the times. I mean, now in 2025, thanks to reply guys, industry plants, and TikTok bonuses for confessing your interests, brands can manifest products via dropshippers at the peak of popularity that week. But in the 1990s, brands didn't have that luxury. What brands did back then is they just filled both hands with darts and kamehameha'd them at the dartboard and hoped for a bullseye. And sometimes they hit with the Skip It, Pogo Ball, Civic Si, Impreza 2.5 RS, Tamagotchi Pets, Pokemon. That was a bullseye right there. But most times back in the 1990s and the year 2000, brands missed, like hit clips, mini discs. Now those were successful in the UK, but not in the USA. Fruitopia, Orbits, Crystal Pepsi, Samurai Pizza Cats, Tea-Berry Gum, the 8th Gen Mercury Cougar, calculator watches, Atari Lynx, Game Gear's TV tuner, and the Ford Focus Kona Edition. Look at these models. It's like they're about to say radical, tubular, bodacious, gnarly. Ugh. It's like this car was focus grouped by the Ninja Turtles. This is a car for the kind of person whose cargo shorts have more pockets than they're ever going to use. The Ford Focus Kona Edition didn't give birth to millennial drivers, but it showed that advertisers were beginning to take them more seriously, even if the product they offered seemed weirdly sarcastic. It would almost come across as patronizing if this wasn't actually the direction the 2000s were about to take, in terms of the rise of lifestyle branding. This is the kind of car you'd see inside the wall mural at an REI. It gives the vibe that you, too, can get off the couch and summit a steep incline. You're not going to do it, but you could. And having the option to do something is almost the same thing as actually doing it, right? That's why it feels so good to have a friend to cancel plans for something you didn't want to do in the first place. You had the option of going, you ultimately didn't have to. Yet because you didn't cancel, you get the same credit as if you've gone anyway. You're not a flake, you're just still about that life. 2000 Ford Focus Kona Edition. Sponsored by interrupting a makeout session to watch the X Games. Yo, Bob Burnquist is on. Sure. You could say that every generation has young people who prioritize adventure and put experience ahead of practicality. See also people financing their furry conventions, but this was a car that existed at the intersection between exuberance and pragmatism, because it makes sense for a young person to drive something like a Focus, particularly if you're looking to flee from the urban areas in which you live and seek out nature but without having to own an SUV or a dedicated off-road vehicle. Ford Focus Kona Edition, the Mountain Dew Code Red of cars. This vehicle is versatile, but uncomplicated. It's not going to give you the best driving dynamics, but it offers a lot of flexibility in what you can do with it. In the sense that cargo space is decent when the seats go down. It's got the right size to maneuver in and out of tight spaces within a city, and while not everybody is going to use that built-in bike rack, there is something to be said for how its presence encourages a more active lifestyle, even if you're already preaching to the choir. Because I can't imagine having bought this in the year 2000 and not trying to be active, no matter what active even means in this context. Maybe active just means that you're kick flipping your way through life because you saw CKY one time and now it's your entire personality. It's possible for a car to be adventurous while not also being rugged, and that's sort of what you get here, and what the issue really is with lifestyle branding. It's selling the consumer their idealized image back to themselves. Here, put on this Halloween costume with the muscles sewn into it. You'll look like a superhero. The Kona isn't going to make you look tough, but it will prompt people to wonder what kind of adventures you get up to, even if you don't really take this car anywhere at all. It's an active mask that conceals inactivity. In the same way you see so many Tacoma pre-run, like adventure builds with the traction boards on the sides and the jerry cans in the tent. I remember back home in Schuylkill County, there was a guy rolling around town like that. I think he just managed the auction and nothing on that truck ever came off. Shout out to you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Ford Focus Kona Edition. I'll bet you eat pussy with your eyes closed. Let's talk about performance. Why not? The engine here is the 2-liter Z-Tech 4-cylinder, making about 130 horsepower and 135 pound-feet of torque from stock, and matched to a 5-speed manual transmission. Dylan here is the second owner, and he bought this with 173,000 miles, and currently it's at about 184,000. As the story goes, Dylan started working at a Ford dealership, and he saw this car parked outside a shop every day on his way to work. So it wasn't at the Ford dealer where he was working, it was at an independent shop on his way to work. And so he had a friend call the independent shop to set up a time to go look at that car. Dylan goes to look at it, and then a neighbor comes over and wants to know what the hell they thought they were doing, eyeing up his car. Right? Okay. Just to keep you with, this car is sitting at a independent repair shop. The neighbor of the independent repair shop is the owner of that car. So he walks across the yard and goes, "What do you think you're doing?" Turns out the foreman of the independent shop where this Ford Focus was sitting never told the neighbor who was the owner. So anyway, they talked it out, the owner apologized profusely, and he agreed to sell Dylan the car for $2,000 because this car had been sitting outside for 12 years. The owner had apparently owned a BMW M5 that he couldn't afford to fix. So he offered his Kona to the independent repair shop in exchange for repairing his BMW. The shop owner accepted his car, but then didn't do anything with it beyond having some vague ideas about maybe turning into a derby car. So right, even though the owner doesn't own his car anymore, he still goes over and says, "What are you doing to my car?" Rural Pennsylvania. Anyway, Dylan bought the car and it came with all the original materials, except for this bicycle. He had to go find the correct Kona bicycle that was offered with this car on eBay. Inside this Ford was also a radar detector, hats, papers, and a burned mix CD for a literal engagement party. And I guess the guy was a gym buff because there were also mentions of steroids in the papers, which sort of tracks in the same sense that this is the exact kind of car a fitness influencer would drive before they started making money off mushroom supplements and dick pill endorsements. You know that sponsor check cleared once they started rolling around in that camouflaged Hummer. Only 5,000 Kona Edition Focuses were ever made, and only half of them were this color, which I believe Ford called dirt metallic. The wheels, the roof rack, the tread mark trim, the seat covers, the floor mats, they were all unique to the Kona. But not everything stock should stay. Dylan had to remove the carbon fiber style tail lights that baked off and looked atrocious. It was those Y2K style lights and with fake carbon fiber housing. They did not hold up well. It was sort of like an Altezza that someone put in an oven. Dylan also had to undo dumb things the previous owner had done. When Dylan bought this, it had an aftermarket exhaust. It was straight pipe, the whole 9 yards, so Dylan removed the aftermarket exhaust system and went for a Roush catback. He added a Ford strut tower brace, and here's where it gets good. He put on the SVT suspension kit, a Roush mid-wing, Roush pedals, and a Ford Sport Appearance package top spoiler, Focus branded mud flaps, Ford hood bra, and a lip extension kit from the Ford Focus Street Edition that he found in a junkyard, along with a factory option leather shift knob and an armrest, which is odd because the leather steering wheel was stock, but it didn't come with the leather shift knob. Anyway. So what you now have is an underpowered car that corners really well. It's a car befitting the idea of the year 2000, really just being the 90s bonus level, because none of the weird, cheap, minimalist design trends of the 2000s were on display yet. But this was still far removed from the mid-90s prime of tactile responsive handling and a feeling you were never overwhelmed with more than what you needed. The worst thing you can really say about the Kona Edition is that it's a bit tacky and slow. For instance, the Kona brand loved glow in the dark, so the word Kona on the bike glows in the dark. Is the bike good at least? Some people like Kona. I don't know if it was good completely, because I swear to God, this is the only bicycle that has an automotive manufacturer recall notice. Because the bicycle is OEM, anything that was wrong with this bicycle gets looped in with the recalls for the Ford Focus Kona Edition. The bicycles had some problem with the crank, so that got a recall notice. But it's not like you could just take the bicycle to a Ford dealership and they fix it. I think they just said, "Hey, look, here's a corporate voucher. Take it to whatever bike shop and have them fix it." But for 1 year, the only way to get the Kona Blast bicycle was to buy the Ford Focus. This bicycle wasn't available until 2001. You have a car that creates the idea of exclusivity without actually providing the things that are exclusive. Just the concepts of adventure, the possibility of exploration, and the capacity for excitement mixed in there with the urban practicality of a small hatchback. But that's not really the same thing as being sporty or thrilling. I suppose Dylan will put this Kona Focus up on Cars and Bids eventually. It has the bike, literature, all badging, but the car is all here. What do you think this is worth?
It's a personal box.
It's a personal box with a friend. There's a friend.
Little tiny friend.
Is it supposed to be an ashtray?
No, well, so this was an ashtray originally, and this personal box thing was offered for non-smokers.
Yeah.
So I found that in a junkyard, and I found this in a junkyard, which is part of that, because originally it would be the cigarette lighter and the ashtray. So this is what they did for non-smokers, but this didn't come out till later, so that's an upgrade.
Good evening. What do you have? Gin martini? I like how you think. Thanks for reaching the end of the video, and thanks for hanging out. RCR has a Patreon now. It's only $1, way cheaper than this bottle. But what you get for it is so much more than just an idle buzz and maybe the feeling of inflated confidence in a Barney Gribble style. What you get is the ability to make RCR go to places and achieve things that channels twice our size, 3 times our size can't do. Plus, you get way more content than what's here on the traditional channel. You know all the stuff we can't get away with on YouTube now? Well, we can get away with it on Patreon, that's for sure. So go to regular car reviews on Patreon. We're the cheapest one out there, $1. How about alternate reviews? How about videos that are completely uncensored? And coming this year, thanks to you, we're gonna go on some fun road trips. Nice long form stuff. And if you're watching this in June, don't worry, the podcasts are coming back. So cheers to you guys. Head over on to Patreon and join. It's only $1. I'll see you there and join in on all the fun. Have a drink, guys. Happy Monday.